Good morning, YouTubers, Facebook people. How's it going? This is Jason Dean. This is another another new video. Cranking out some new videos here on my YouTube channel, Jason Dean at Film Fanatic. If you get a chance, check out the page. It's pretty new. There's like three pages going on. There's the Facebook page I've had, Film Fanatic, for about I've had it for probably like 5 years or so now, which is hard to believe. And I started, I think it was last year. Yeah, just about last year. I'm kind of late to the game a lot of the times with technology, and I'm learning things as I go here. But I just last year, I think late last year, I started an Instagram page also, main at Film Fanatic, and that's a newer thing. And then a few years ago, I started a YouTube channel, but I didn't really do too much with it. I just kind of set up an account and set up the page itself and didn't really have too much going on. But I have shifted it to where now it's part of the whole Film Fanatic thing. So there's like three channels now. So there's a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and now a YouTube channel. So it's been a lot of fun. Again, I'm usually pretty late to the game. I don't really consider myself too tech savvy, but one of the cool things about diving into doing these kinds of things more often is I've been learning a lot about video and trying to beef up, a little bit more of an online presence. It started off with Film Fanatic, the Facebook page, where I was just, basically uploading trailers of movies that I really liked, or movies that I saw, or movies I was looking forward to seeing. And I'd write little reviews about them. And then over a period of quite a few years, I started. It's actually been a year now. I started to do these live Facebook videos, and that's been a lot of fun. It's basically the same kind of format where I do like a little live talk or a review, where I talk about the general synopsis of a movie and my impression. Most of the movies that I do now, I pretty much do. It's mostly centered on the films that I actually own and that are a part of my collection. I still do reviews of films that I see, whether it's new releases or something I've seen in the theater. But I also have shifted the focus to where it's more things that are in my collection now and things that I buy. So it's been a lot of fun. And the YouTube channel is a very new thing. And I started off just doing the Facebook Live video, but I've shifted it to doing just YouTube videos because I feel like the quality is better, and I'm gonna try to expand upon this kind of format. It's a lot. I feel it's a lot easier. I feel like it's a lot, or from a technical standpoint, the quality is better. The quality control of it is better. And the way that you can kind of share the content is way easier. So moving forward, I'm gonna always be doing this video format through the YouTube. I won't be no longer be using the Facebook Live thing, even though it's good and it's been really helpful. I feel like the quality isn't so great, and there's a lot of disruption sometimes with like delays or internet snags. And one of the things I'd like to start doing again, I've only done it a couple of times, is I want to start getting some guests back on the show. I've done it a couple of times and it was great and a lot of fun, but I'm looking forward to doing more of that. I tried to do more of those kinds of interviews, but due to my lack of experience, I had some problems with that. And so I'm hoping that this transition into this newer format and a little bit more of a efficient or somewhat professional way of doing it will make that more of a possibility and make it easier. So yeah, so cheers. So yeah, starting off, I'll talk a little bit about some music happenings here in the Film Fanatic Quantum headquarters. So we have a Quantum show coming up this week on Thursday. It's our first show on a Thursday at Lulu's. We've been playing pretty steadily this summer at Lulu's slash Fog. We've been doing it since I think we started. Yeah, we started doing our sets and our shows there in June, early June this year. We actually started it with our like album release party that we had. So, and since then we've been playing there pretty steadily, and it's been really just a total blast. We mostly do Sundays. We've mostly been doing these Sundays on once a month, couple times a month. We've been doing it in July and June. We did a few Saturdays. We kind of mixed it up a little bit. But we mostly do Sundays, when they're usually like two to five whenever we do the shows. This week will be a little bit different. We're going to be doing it a little bit later, and it's going to be from 3 to 6, and it's right on Oak Street in Rockland. And it's basically we play a 3 hour set, and it's a lot of fun. We had a gig there a couple weeks ago, and it was great. We have some good, good turnouts. We've had some really good shows there. Last week, or the last show we did there was really a blast. So, and it's a pretty mellow kind of thing. We're outside. We're in the courtyard, and it's a really great setting. The acoustics are really cool. We play for about 3 hours. We take a little bit of a break in between, and it's for the ice cream place at Lulu's, where they have adult milkshakes. They actually have a liquor and beer license, so they can sell alcohol, and they sell pretty big assortment of beer, and they have gelato and ice cream that they all make in house, which is really delicious. And this is all possible because of Ashley Seelig. So yeah, so the next one will be this week at 3 o'clock this Thursday at Oak Street on Oak Street. So come on by if you're free and if you're into doing it, and having some good ice cream, and all of these shows are free. So we'll be doing that, and then we got a few more coming up after that. We'll be also playing there again on Sunday with the jazz group, the Whitehead Dean group that me and my friend Mike Whitehead have. We play, who also plays in Quantum, and he plays trumpet in the jazz group. So we we'll be there this coming Sunday, and we'll be there the same time frame, from 3 to 6. So come on out, check out original, mostly original based music. So it's a lot of fun. And then the other things that we have coming up for in the Quantum Camp outside of our Lulu gigs is which is a couple of shows that I'm really actually super excited. One in particular I'm really, really excited, but I'm excited for both of them. One show that we'll be doing, which is coming up really soon, actually the first week of September already, which is hard to believe. But my friends Daniel Richmond and Julian Reed, who live in Camden, they're going to be hosting an outdoor party, and we're going to be doing a set as Quantum, and then also my really great friend Eric Halsey, aka Halsey, is going to also be performing, and that's going to be on September 3rd. They have this really great spot. They have this apartment, pretty nice big apartment in downtown Camden. It's literally right next door to River Ducks, which is the ice cream place in Camden. That's a really, popular place. I think they're going to be open for another month or so, I believe, because I know eventually the season here will be kind of winding down, and I think they'll be open for another month or so. But the party will be outside, and it will be right next door to River Ducks, so you'll hear the music. And if you have any questions about exactly where the place is, you can always message me. But we're going to be doing this show on September 3rd, and it's going to start. It's going to be an early afternoon show. It's going to be starting around 2 o'clock, and it's going to be like an outside thing. There's a big deck that they have, so we're going to be playing out on the deck, and it overlooks the bridge, which is kind of part of River Ducks, and it's a pretty sweet location. So they had this idea a few weeks ago, and I thought they were Daniel and Jillian are great friends of mine, and I thought initially they were kind of pulling my chain, or they were you know I didn't take them seriously, and then they were like, no, let's do it. I talked to them a couple of days afterwards, and they were totally into the idea of doing an actual show there. So then they wanted to initially have us come as Quantum and do like a set outside and see what that would be like, because they've never done anything like this, and I haven't really done anything like this in a while. We used to play a lot of house parties, and those are usually a lot of fun, and they were like all inside someone's apartment or slash house, and it was like a private residency. So this is a little bit of a different thing, and so that kind of spawned on this other idea, which I'm really, really excited about. My friend Eric Halsey, who is an amazing, well, he's a super cool guy, one of the nicest guys, but he's an amazing bass player. He's one of my favorite musicians to play with. I've been fortunate enough to play, the last year or so, 2 years. Uh, been really fortunate to play quite a few gigs with him. We play in a band called Bone Broth with Carl Luzon and Ronnie, and that's a super fun band. It's all mostly improvised stuff. We do everything from like there's all kinds of room for different things. There's some electronic music in there. There's a lot of gypsy music. There's some jazz and some funk and what have you. But that project primarily is all like improvised stuff. So we mostly play together in that band, and we've done a few other gigs here and there. But since I've known Eric or Halsey, he has always been talking about this solo project that he's been sitting on for a long time, and it's all original music, and he plays. Uh, Eric Halsey also plays lots of different instruments. He also plays drums. He plays keys, and he has had this project for a long time, and it goes under the name of Halsey. And we've talked a lot about it, and I've known him for about 3 or 4 years, and we've always talked about it. And he, in his downtime, he spends a lot of time in his studio recording this music and writing this music. He has a really great collection of vintage and also some newer keyboards, and also he's got some really amazing drum machines and loop machines, and he also plays a lot of live bass in this context of in this project. So he incorporates all this stuff, and it's amazing. I just think it's such cool music, and I think it's something that people should definitely hear. But he was talking about how he's never, he's been wanting to test it out and basically go out and play a gig, and where he could just present this new thing. And he wasn't sure how to do it and where to do it, but he's been working on it for so long. So I kind of thought this would be a great kind of opportunity to test it out and see what it would be like. And so he will be performing also, and that's going to be on September 3rd, like I said, and he's going to be playing like an hour or so of a set of his own original stuff. And it's got the thing that I love about it is it's very electronic, and it's got a psychedelic kind of element to it, but he also uses live instruments. He's an amazing bass player, and he also like uses lots of live synth, and he does a lot of his own mixing and sampling, and it has a lot of the stuff reminds me a lot of Thundercat. It has that very like kind of urban, new school hip hop kind of vibe to it, and so it's definitely funk infused. So yeah, that's going to be a blast. I'm super excited about that. And I just put up the event page on Facebook for it today, actually just a little while ago before I started doing this video. So yeah, so look out for that. There's going to be a bunch of promotion for that coming up, and I highly advise people to check out his set. It's going to be super cool. And then the other thing that we're going to be doing as Quantum is there's another there's so many great musicians in this area. Sometimes it's hard to keep track. But there's another also great bass player, and also a multi instrumentalist who's really talented, AC Davis, who is originally from Austin, Texas. I met him probably about 5 or 6 years ago through various open mics that I was going to or that I was a part of. We got to play a little bit, and I've gotten to know him. And he's a super cool guy, very very versatile, and he's got all of these different projects going on. And he's primarily a bass player, but for the last, I think it's been 3 years, he always it's like kind of the end of the summer. He always has this party at the end of the summer where he does he has like a festival basically at his house where he has like a bunch of bands booked during the course of a day. And he has like a food truck, and he builds a stage, and basically they play, and it's like an all day kind of event. And so he had asked us before to do it, but we weren't able to do it because of previous commitments. This year he got us a little bit early, asked us a little bit earlier. So we're going to do that on September 28th, and that's going to be a festival, and it's going to be um, a lot of fun. It's going to be in, I think it's in Owl's Head, right outside of Rockland, and it's going to be at his property. And there's going to be, I think, a whole handful of bands, some rock bands, some punk bands, and we're going to do a Quantum set. And each band is going to be doing like an hour set, so we'll be doing that at this big party. And there's been some promotion for this show already in this little mini festival, so stay tuned for more details with that. So that will be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that, and that's going to be September 28th. It's on a Wednesday, I believe, and it's going to be kind of after the summer season. So yeah, that'll be fun. So this brings me to the main reason I'm doing this video, of course. This movie here, Mansion, Mansion of the Doomed, 1976. And again, like I've said many times before, I love to, I've lucked out. I've really lucked out, but I have been buying a good majority of films, a good majority of Blu-rays that I have not seen before. The prices have been great, and I've been always taking a chance. I still buy things obviously that I've seen before. It's funny because like usually I go to Bull Moose, like I've talked many many times about. I usually go to Bull Moose to buy these kinds of films, like films that are kind of in the exploitation realm. I buy other things there too, but they have an amazing selection for a lot of these grindhouse movies. So that's typically where I go to buy these kinds of films. And the prices are great. And a lot of these are all like 4K Blu-ray packages that are just, astoundingly, the quality is amazing. And it's astounding how great the treatment a lot of these films get. So I typically always go there to buy those kinds of movies, like a little bit movies that are pretty rare or hard to find, or more underground. But I'm always amazed. So this is one that I bought there. And then, like say yesterday, I also the other place I go to buy lots of movies, and I've gotten a lot of movies over the years, especially the last maybe year or so, is the Goodwill in Rockland. I go there quite a bit, and they have obviously all these used movies, but they sometimes have an amazing collection of used Blu-rays. and I just was there yesterday, and I got another handful of movies there on Blu-ray, and fabulous, and they tend to have more like I like all kinds of films. They tend to have more of the bigger budget Hollywood kind of films. I got a whole bunch of Marvel movies recently from there. Perfect condition, Blu-ray. They're reused maybe once or twice. Sometimes they're not. They're not even opened. But the prices are fantastic, and I've gotten a bunch of. I'm a huge Marvel fan too, so I've gotten a bunch of Marvel movies from there. And I typically go there to buy Blu-rays, and I don't really buy VHS anymore, and I try not to buy. Well, I still buy DVDs, but I usually the main thing that I try to focus on as far as collecting movies is Blu-rays, because I already have a ton. I have tons and tons of DVDs, and that's still great. And like yesterday, I did buy a DVD, but I try to focus on buying only Blu-rays just because of the quality and everything. So, but I typically buy, more, I guess you could call it Hollywood-based films, or more, the bigger budget films. I tend to buy those at Goodwill because they have a really good selection. Occasionally, I find some things like some odd movies that I love, like uh, what was the name of that one movie? Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I remember buying that there on Blu-ray, and that's a great classic cult, exploitation movie. But for the most part, I usually separate the two. So like Goodwill, I'll go to buy the more kind of commercial films that I really really love, and then for the sleazy kind of grindhouse movies, I go to Bull Moose because they have a huge selection of those kinds of films. I mean, they have all kinds of movies there. They have this, the one in Brunswick has got this literally a whole wall of movies, and then like the last half of the section is all basically like horror, science fiction, exploitation movies, and it's an amazing. They have an amazing selection. So I usually break up the two for the two places depending on what I want to buy, and so it's cool. And I've accumulated a lot of great films, and the prices are great. Prices are phenomenal. So this was one of the last time I was at Bull Moose. This is one of the films I bought, Mansion of the Doomed, and I had never heard of this movie. I definitely had never seen it. It's from 1976, and so it's wicked old school. And it also, one of the things about it that I was really interested in is just, it has Lance Henriksen in it, who's like one of my favorite actors in horror films. He's probably most well known for Aliens. That's when I first came across him as a kid. Pumpkinhead, he's been in, which is another amazing movie. He's been in the really awesome vampire movie Near Dark. Um, he's been in so many great movies. So when I saw that he was in this, and he's really young in this, I was like, yes, this is definitely a must. This is probably one of his earlier films, and I didn't really know he did, exploitation movies to a degree. I mean, I kind of consider like Pumpkinhead to kind of be in that kind of realm, because it's got a high caliber level of practical effects, but it's also like super low budget, and it's kind of cheesy at times. But it's so I kind of consider, but in a great way, I kind of consider that to be kind of in this style. But this movie was just, again, I saw this, I watched this last night for the first time, and God, what a great movie! Like this came out in 1976. It was directed by Michael Pataki, and it stars um, Richard Basement, Lance Henriksen, um, and again, it was a movie I had not ever seen before, and I was just totally blown away. And it's also this really great actress in this called her name is Trish Stewart. She's like the leading actress in this film, and the whole premise of the film is well, it's such a bizarre film. I mean, it's wild. It's kind of bananas, like at times totally nuts. And it's funny because the whole premise of the movie is basically about this mad scientist who goes like the scientist who goes insane. It's a little bit of a play. Like I could see, it was definitely influenced by Frankenstein. You know, the Mary Shelley book. Definitely inspired by Frankenstein, I would say. Um, but the basic premise is that the doctor in this, he is he's basically an eye surgeon, and his daughter loses her sight. So he basically, the doctor kind of goes on this rampage of experimenting on people, and basically where he drugs these various people and takes and puts them forces them under surgery and takes out their eyeballs and tries to do all of these eye surgeries, does all these performs all these eye surgeries and switches out these different eyeballs. And he basically, all of the people that he performs all these experiments on, he keeps them in this cage like animals, and he takes all their eyes out of their head, and he puts them in this electrified cage, and they're like left to basically die in this guy's basement. And it's there's some things in it that are so disturbing and crazy. It's bonkers, and it's a kind of a premise or an idea I've never seen explored necessarily in horror before. You know, it's kind of like body horror, but like eye body horror. And it's and the other thing that it really reminded me of, it reminded me of that franchise, The Human Centipede. If you've ever seen those films, they're pretty disturbing. I do like those films, particularly the first one. I think is a really great movie. And the Human Centipede Part Two is incredibly disturbing. And watching Mansion of the Doomed, it really reminded me of aspects of the Human Centipede, as far as like kind of the, you know, this these people being broken down to their most, you know, primal state, to where they morph into and change into these like almost mutant creatures. Psychologically and physically, they're just like kind of destroyed, you know, step by step. And you see it. You see this like breaking down of these people that are being held captive and they're prisoners, and then he eventually kills them, the doctor. And it really reminded me of Human Centipede. And so I'm really curious to see if the creators of that film or that franchise have seen the Mansion of Doom, because it really reminds me a lot of that, the story and the scenario. And of course, this came out in '76, so it, you know, predated the Human Centipede franchise probably by, you know, 20 years or so. But very cool movie. Lance Henriksen's amazing in it as always. He's at first he's like one of the lead actors, but then he kind of disappears and comes back into the story and plays this integral part. But really great movie. It's a trip. It's a real trip of a movie. Very original, very very shocking, and but definitely something I've never seen before, and I highly recommend it. It's such a cool movie. The only thing is, and again, I took a chance on this film. It was really, I got it. It was still in its package, wasn't used. It doesn't have any special features on it, but I'm still super excited that I bought this anyway. Yeah, definitely check this film out. It's not for the faint of heart. I definitely would say it's pretty raw, super low budget, and it's pretty brutal. Psychologically, it's pretty jarring, and it also has one of the best kind of sad. It has a really satisfying ending, and there's like with the build up of the story and the characters and what these prisoners, these people that are being kept in the basement in this cage, what they're going through, and what eventually, you know, comes to be for the conclusion is a really great payoff. Very very cool. Great music too. Really great score. Really well directed. Yeah, so I can't recommend this enough. Mansion of the Doom, killer movie. If you like Lance Henriksen, uh, or you love him like I do, definitely add this to your collection or whatnot. But even if you don't know who he is, check this film out. You won't be disappointed. So this is Jason Dean again at Film Fanatic, and this will conclude today's experiment in cinema. So thank you again for everyone's support, and we will see you next time. If you get a chance, please check out the page, YouTube channel, and like it or subscribe it. And we will see you next time. Cheers.